Welcome to Her Imprint, part of the Impressions Exchange. I'm Denise Gustafson, your host. This podcast celebrates the remarkable women who are transforming the printing industry. We'll explore their journeys, from challenges to triumphs, and share the stories that leave a lasting imprint. Today, I have with me Lisa Young. She's the Chief Operating Officer with Fineline Printing Group. So Lisa, welcome.
Thank you, Denise. I am really excited to be here. I thank you so much for having me on today. I'm looking
Thank
forward to our
you.
conversation.
So am I. I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to chat. To get us started, can you give me a little bit of background about Fineline Printing Group?
Yeah, I would love to. So, Fineline Printing Group is a commercial printing fulfillment and technology provider headquartered in the Midwest. We're actually in Indianapolis, and we provide commercial printing services to local businesses as well as throughout Indiana. And we also have a national footprint. Our verticals include healthcare, finance, manufacturing, and educational testing programs. That has us involved in many different things.
Yeah.
We are a minority business enterprise as well as a SOC 2 Type 2 certified organization. So we work with 18 Fortune 500 companies. And a fun fact, 5 of the top 10 healthcare clients in the United States are customers of Fineline. We do business with many different organizations. So it's a
Very
great place to
cool.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. And I have to ask about your technology mix before we get into your journey. So, offset, digital, both, a little of everything.
We are a little of everything. We are offset digital. We have wide format capabilities. And also we have what we call an e-procurement platform. We actually have 2 technology stacks in e-procurement that we provide branded, convertible e-procurement websites to corporate clients.
Very cool. So, a lot of variety in what you guys do.
Huge variety. It's actually one of the reasons that we have longevity. We've been in business for 43 years, and we've really thrived as an organization because we reinvent ourselves and we offer a multitude of services to our customers.
Honestly, if companies, especially commercial printing companies, aren't reinventing themselves these days or over the years as technology has changed, I don't know if they're really still around.
Agreed. Agreed. It's really one of the significant contributing factors to our success. And as well as my longevity in the organization, because I am a lifelong learner. And I don't know that I would ever say to someone, I love reinventing myself. In the rear view mirror of your professional career, you look back and there are things that you're really proud of because you can point to, hey, I did that, or we did that, and look at us now. So it's really satisfying.
So, talking about that rear view mirror, when did you get started? How did you get into printing in the first place?
I think it's an interesting story. And it was not a professional career that, honestly, Denise, I ever thought that I would have, right? I did not go out pursuing a graphic arts career. For me, here's how it started. I graduated from college. I earned my English literature and economics degree from Butler University, which is a small private liberal arts college here in the Indianapolis area. And honestly, I was headed back to get my master's and eventually my PhD because I wanted to teach. That was really what I thought I wanted to do. And I needed a summer job. I needed a summer job after school. And I applied for a job, a marketing position. It was actually a marketing intern position at a local printing company. And I got the job. I got in and had the opportunity to work directly with our owner and founder of the business on a direct mail campaign program that he wanted to start. And I found myself spending the summer doing everything from cold calling, prospecting to writing content for brochures. Back then, there weren't really blogs yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for brochures as well as direct mail letters to customers. And I think that I just started really loving the business aspect of it. I loved being a part of a entrepreneurial driven. It was a very sales driven organization, and I got to do many different things, and I really loved that. And I went to the owner and at the end of the summer and I said, "You know what? I still need a job, and I really think you need a full-time marketing person." And he said, "Okay, you've got the job." So I said, "Great." That's really how that started, Denise.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. I look back on it at the time, a lot of it came out of necessity. You
Mhm.
just need a job and you're out of college. And honestly, you don't really know. I loved English and I loved that aspect of the university world, but I was so surprised about how much I loved being on the business side of it, the strategy, and even the marketing, which is really where I cut my teeth. What was great about it is everybody's a customer, a potential customer, at least at the beginning when you're a smaller organization. And at that time, we were quite small. We were about 15 employees.
Was it with Fineline that you started back then, or was it with
It,
another
it,
company?
it was indeed. It was indeed.
That is very cool.
I think so. It's
So,
been a it's been a great journey for me. It's been a really wonderful place to be.
so now the question is, have you stayed with Fineline? Have you gone outside and then come back? Or really, has your career really been just through the company and all its different changes and evolutions?
It's been with the company through all of its changes and evolutions, but I've had an opportunity, actually multiple opportunities for professional development
Mm-hmm.
and professional development outside of the organization in various peer-to-peer groups and leadership groups that the company provided for, paid for, has been essential to my growth. And I'm really thankful for it. As you could imagine, being in a printing company, a growing printing company over the years provides a tremendous amount of experience. So I learned so much about the business as well as from our clients as well.
Now, when you decided, maybe out of necessity, that you needed that job, you're out of college, you need the job, you've been the intern, now you get this full time position. Was that your moment when you said, this is my place, this is my market? Or was there something else that kind of gave you that aha moment that, yes, this really is my career, this is it for me?
It wasn't then, Denise. It took a while. I was loving the learning part of it. I think there was this moment when we moved, we were growing, and we made a transition out of our current facility into a large 70,000 square foot facility. And we had landed several significant clients. We were growing. We had more than 60 employees at that time. I got promoted to essentially like a general manager position, but I was overseeing a couple of different teams in account management and IT and still handling the marketing. And I had this moment where I knew that my soft skills, I needed more. I could learn. I knew I had the ability to continue to learn, but it were those soft skills, those management skills around managing people and understanding and developing strategy that I knew I was either going to get some professional development or maybe it was time to do something else. And I decided, along with generous willingness of our owner to find professional development for me, I got a coach. I got a one-on-one coach, and through one of those 360 assessments, which I don't know if you've ever taken those, but They give you feedback on streaks and areas for improvement, as well as how your peers see you. I was a little taken aback. I was like, wow, there were many things that were definite strengths for me, but there were also areas where I really need to work on this around emotional intelligence and how I interact with my peers and how I really go about leading the teams that are underneath me. And it was also that pivotal moment where I needed to decide, do I want to take a leadership role? And what do I want my leadership style to be? I engaged with a coach and I stepped through about 18 months of some hard stuff and practicing to be role playing and practicing and really addressing some of those areas that I needed to work on. I'm so thrilled that I did because I gained a tremendous amount of confidence and I know I became a better leader and a better manager for team members that were reporting to me. And I think I also learned to at least try not to take myself as so seriously, right? Because there's fun in it too, right?
Of course.
There's fun in it. I appreciate the question. That's really a pivotal moment that comes top of mind for me.
It's interesting. I've never done any kind of coaching along those lines, but I can only imagine that there's a certain vulnerability for you when you really let yourself be known in that way, to know what your strengths are, to know what your weaknesses are. And you have to have a certain amount of willingness to be able to work on those things. So it is definitely such a growth path to have. And it's not an easy one. Like you said, you had 18 months of sometimes probably very uncomfortable situations as you were learning and as you were trying to make these changes in yourself.
Yeah, and I love that word vulnerability because that's really it. You have to be willing to not only say to yourself, hey, there's some gaps here that need to be addressed. And not everyone in the organization and even around you will champion that because I think honestly, it's hard for everyone. I think there are individuals and certain leadership styles that would say, oh, don't ever show weakness and don't ever admit that you've done something wrong. But I found in my own experience, that's just no way to grow. There's no growth opportunity there, right? When you do that. So, yeah, yeah.
But you came to that fork in the road. Do I want to go and take that leap into leadership roles, or do I want to stay where I am?
Yeah.
And that's a big decision because in some ways that impacts your work-life balance, how you view yourself, how you're viewed within the organization. It impacts more than just you at that point. So it is very interesting.
Yeah, it does.
What was it like for you to start as an intern to finally become a chief operating officer? It's not like it happened overnight. I know that. But what was it like for you to work your way to that position?
It didn't happen overnight, that's for sure. I'll share a little bit about that because I want to encourage other women, young women who are considering graphic arts and really even in any industry. I face challenges, no question about it. And honestly, as a young person, just a few years out of college, that came as a surprise to me because I was not expecting to face challenges. I don't know what I thought. I think when you're young, you're surprised by the challenges. One of my first roles was to oversee our customer service department. And there was pushback from team members as it related to the difference in age. Who is this young person that is now my boss? I had challenges with other women that was, again, a surprise to me. And though, as I reflect back, there were a few women, especially in those early years, that intentionally befriended me. They professionally supported me and helped me along the way. They were more than just encouragers. They were, hey, this is how this is done. Or I recognize that, like, how would you ever know this? No one's born knowing printing. So go here and start looking at this. Or some of it was just seeing a couple of strong women in the organization that they had a voice and they used it. And I loved that. And they did it with kindness. And so I began to look at that and say, I can do that. I can
Mhm.
model that. And then there were, as you make the steps from a manager then to a vice president of operations, Denise, I always raised my hand and said, I'll take that. I can do that. I really believe in hindsight that I call it a superpower.
Of course it is.
I know. I I can see gaps, I can see roadblocks, I can see danger ahead. And so I would see things that needed to be fixed, or I would see things coming on the horizon for our organization. And I would say, we're going to need this. Maybe it's a new role that we need to implement, or a new process that if we don't get this implemented, we're going to start losing money. So I would raise my hand and I would say, I can do this. In the organization I was in, they were happy to say, go for it. And I did. That really helped the owners of our organization to find it easy, I think easy, to promote me and to trust me. And a lot of hard work. It's hard work. I'm really one of those that first you do, then you get. And
And that happens
you
to a lot of
earn it.
people. You have to
Yeah.
earn it.
You do. Because if not, then there's just so much you don't know that you don't know. Yeah, a lot of hard work. And it wasn't all easy, but it was more fun than it was hard.
Which is good. When you were coming in, you said you weren't expecting those challenges. I don't know if it's like the rosy-eyed glasses of college. You're moving from a college situation to real life, to really a work environment. I don't know if anybody knows what to expect once you're really involved. You may have had jobs, you may have had part-time jobs as you're in school, but that's not your career in many cases. As you're finally getting your feet under you, now you're starting to progress. That's your career. Now it's like the decisions you're making now are going to impact where you go in the future. It's interesting just to say that I haven't even thought about when I started. Was I that rosy-eyed when I started? Probably. I didn't know what to expect in the real world.
Yeah.
One of the other interesting things that you were mentioning too was that you were putting yourself in situations where you volunteered, that you really
Yes.
put yourself out there.
Yes.
Why was that so successful for you? Was it just because that you were willing and able to do it, or you were willing to stretch yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, Denise, several years ago, I would have said it's because I was willing and able and it benefited the organization. But I think more so it was about stretching myself. It was about stretching myself because though, yes, did the organization benefit from the fact that I raised my hand and said, yes, I can do this? And there were many times that the organization leadership said, we need you to do this. And I did it. I'd love to tell a story that I think really exemplifies this. And that was when we lost our vice president of sales and we had this gap. We needed someone to step into that role. I had overseen sales teams before, but I had never served in that really client-facing role of being the vice president of sales. And we, as an organization, have many what we call house accounts. So these are accounts that don't have outside sales representation. So the VP of sales is the person. And I remember taking on that role for about a year. That was as far out of my comfort zone as I had ever been. And I know that sounds crazy, but that sales role and that client facing role, I had really not done that in my career. And it was a huge stretch for me personally. And I don't want to do that role long term.
Yeah.
Long term, but I did it and I learned so much. I gained so much empathy, not only for the individuals that I eventually hired to be that person, but I also got a deep appreciation for and learned to better see through the client's eyes what it felt like to be one of our customers and to receive our products because I was meeting with them and they asked some hard questions. It's one thing to be back in the plant with the operational teams and the account management team, talking through client issues and coming up with a solution. It's another to do it when you're in front of them. It was those places in my career where, yes, I learned, yes, I grew. I grew a lot of confidence too. It really helped give me more confidence, as well as I think it increased my ability to really use my voice when it was needed in certain situations for client advocacy or even other team member advocacy. So that one was one I didn't have a lot of options. You're with an organization for so long, you're part of the leadership team, and everybody knows we got to fill the gap here. And I was the one that needed to do it, and I knew it, and I did it, and it was great.
And it's interesting too, with all the different roles you've played, even this sales role that you were uncomfortable with, it's not something that you really wanted to do long term, as you said. But now you have that insight into so many different positions within the company as well. I
Yes.
think that also gives you such, you talked about emotional intelligence. It really gives you so much insight into the different areas of the company as well,
Yes.
just because you've come up through all of those areas,
Yes.
which gives you, in a way, another superpower, I think.
Thank you, Denise. I'm writing that down. I
I think you should, because when you think of it, sometimes people come in from other companies. They offer that outside experience, which is good. It gives you that different perspective, but also to walk a mile in all of those different positions within the company also gives you a very unique perspective. So you
I think
really
so.
know how things are being done, why you do them certain ways, because you've actually done them.
I think so. Yeah, agreed.
Now, one of the things that a lot of women nowadays face is the challenge of having a very successful career, but also on the other side, you have a home life, you have a family. Is there any such thing of a work-life balance? How do you manage to keep your boundaries? Can you keep your boundaries separate?
First of all, I want to say it's very hard. You will have many people in the organization and just in life in general that it's not that they intentionally don't support you, it's just that their style won't support that balance.
Mm-hmm.
I think one, you have to be incredibly intentional about that separation. Work life balance, I don't look at it as a balance, as more of a real separation.
Mm-hmm.
And I have struggled with this, Denise, over the years. Sometimes it's been due to other peers, your desire to keep up, to want to be seen as one of the team,
Mm-hmm.
to work as hard as everyone else is working. But I think that one, you have to be intentional. For me, it was about what I call creating a Sabbath. For me, it's Sundays and there's no work,
Mm-hmm.
there's no emails. It's not even about planning for work. And it's more than just rest. It's about creating a space where you can relax, you can enjoy, and reorient yourself to what are the true priorities of your life. Because for me, work is not number one in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't always say that. I couldn't always say that. I could say that, Denise. I could say that, but it wouldn't be true.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be absolutely intentional. And I think you have to just realize that for me, it's not about a balance. It's about separation. It's about carving out at least one day where you put your priorities into perspective. And it's things like God, it's things like family, and it's things like doing things that are truly just fun.
That gives you the chance to recharge your own batteries.
Absolutely.
So you can come back to work. We all know work is going to be there. It's not going to go away
Yeah.
until we retire, but then there's a different kind of work that we might be doing. So how can we make that separation? And it's hard.
It is.
Like you said, it's a challenge.
Yeah. And in American society, we absolutely celebrate this go
The nights and weekends
and work. Oh, absolutely. Everybody thinks it's great. I'm so busy. At the end of the day, you're not a better person for it. And despite all of our best efforts to look like we're okay with that kind of lifestyle, nobody really is, because eventually it leaks out into other areas of your life where you can tell there's no more capacity. So I'm also a big believer, Denise, in
Mm-hmm.
creating margin in your life where you're not back to back meetings. Because even during the workday, you're not bringing your best self when there's no margin for you to be able to just take a deep breath and breathe.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, too, when you look at some of those folks that are doing those nights, they are doing the weekends, they're always working, and they've done this for so long. In some cases, you see some of them, they start to be bitter and regretful
Mhm.
of the life that they're missing out on.
Sure.
Because now they look back after years and years of this, and they may have missed out on some really important family things, really important ways that they could have grown personally.
Mhm.
You don't want to get to that point.
No, you don't. And at the end of the day, so to speak, life really is about small daily choices that we make.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's just about the small daily choices. Making those good life choices are really important.
Definitely. So, in conclusion, my favorite question that I like to ask everybody is knowing what you know now. So, based on all of your experience in the printing industry, how you got into it, all the different roles that you've had, if you were just starting out today, what advice would you give yourself?
So, the advice I would give myself is trust yourself, be curious,
Mm-hmm.
ask lots of questions, work hard, advocate for yourself and other women, find a mentor. And that might mean over a course of a long career, you would have a couple of mentors, right?
Different stages, different things that you want to learn and grow too.
Ab-
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Find a mentor. There's so much that we can learn from those who are ahead of us in life. And trust yourself, be curious, and advocate for yourself and other women.
all really good advice.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, would we take it? That's the harder question, I think, for all of
Denise,
us.
there's no right. I know, right? Because you're so absolutely confident that
Mm-hmm.
that you think you know what is right and best. But yeah, yeah. And just keeping your priorities, making sure that those stay rightly ordered, rightly ordering your priorities, because the journey of leadership and the journey of financial improvement, it can be a bit seductive and can really pull at you. And you can turn around 10 years later and look back, and your priorities may not be where they were when you started. And doing that gut check maybe annually, once a year, would be really important and I think valuable. And having that mentor or accountability partner, I think goes a long way in having an outside voice say, "Hey, Lisa, have you thought about this lately?"
Yeah. To
Yeah,
keep you on track, to help keep you aligned with the goals or the priorities that you would set for yourself.
absolutely. Yep.
Well, Lisa, it was awesome having a chance to chat with you today. So thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me.
You are so welcome. Again, I feel honored to have been asked to participate. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to celebrate and amplify the voices of women in the printing industry. If you have a story to share or know someone whose journey deserves to be highlighted, we'd love to hear from you. Together, let's continue inspiring and empowering the next generation of leaders. Until next time, keep leaving your imprint. This is Her Imprint. See you soon.